So we'll go to Sociology, paper 1, May, June 2019. Source A. It said feminist researchers are often concerned that the balance of power between the researcher and the respondent is likely to affect any data gathered. They argue that the interviewer and the interviewee should be seen as equals in the research process. Feminists prefer unstructured interviews, which give time and space for the interviewee to offer their views. In structured interviews, the interviewer is the one in control. They direct the questioning and record the data. In unstructured interview, the interviewees describe their experiences in their own words, with the interviewer acting only as a guide. This is why feminists prefer to use unstructured interviews. Feminists also like to use focus groups in their research. Positivists select objective methods that avoid interviewer bias, but feminists reject this approach. Instead, feminists claim that developing a relationship with respondents is an essential part of establishing trust and respect. Positivists also argue that unstructured interviews are very difficult to repeat. So we'll go into the question. The first question says, from source A, identify two research methods used by feminists. So for feminists, they are sociologists who want equal women rights, and they don't want a patriarchy society. They don't want a society that is dominated by men. So these are feminists. I think that is clear. So the kind of research they use here, they use the focus group according to the source. They use focus group, and also they use
structured.
Yes. So these are here I wrote said they use unstructured interviews and focus group. Why do we call it unstructured interview? We call it unstructured because it doesn't have a standardized method. So the interview is not standardized. It doesn't mean that we have written this interview. Everything that we have to ask is here. So we'll continue to use it every now and then. No. The questions will come based on the situation of the environment. Do you understand? That's why I call it unstructured. So it is not written.
We don't prepare the
it's not prepared. It's not standardized. That's why positivists, they said positive objective, they said positivists don't want it because it might be biased. And it is not repeated. You cannot repeat it because it is based on the nature of that particular environment. And human nature changes, it's diversified. What we do today, we might not do it tomorrow. So that means unstructured interview might not be able to be used repeatedly, unlike structured interview, because it is standardized.
And this is a positive or negative point about the structure.
Yeah, it depends on how we see it. For feminists, they believe it brings out the unbiasedness, it brings out objectivity. But positivists, they say no. So it depends on the kind of sociologist you have. Do you understand? You have your own point of view, I have my own point of view. I can tell you that I don't want unstructured interview because I cannot repeat it. And your inability to repeat a research makes it difficult for you to generalize it. Your inability to repeat a research might reduce the validity or the reliability of the research. That is according to positivists. But for feminists, they feel unstructured interview is the best way to see the best of people because you see what they do in the natural environment. Do you understand now?
Yes.
Okay. So that was for question 1. So go to B. They said, identify 2 types of observation used by sociologists. Sociologists can use covert observation system. Covert means you are participating, but your identity is not identified.
What do you mean observation?
To see, look at people, make research on them, focus on them, get information from them. That is observation. So we have different types of participant observation. We have the one we call, we have different types of observation. We have participant observation, we have covert observation, we have overt observation, we have non-participant observation. Covert observation means you are there, but nobody knows your identity. They don't know what you are doing there. They see you as part of the group. That is covert. But overt means they know that you are there making research on them. That is overt. Then for participant observation, it means the interviewer is part of the group that is being researched upon. Do you understand? Non-participant means you are far away but observing. Is it clear?
Yes.
So here I wrote participant observation and non-participant
I
observation.
don't need to explain each one.
No, they said types. They only say identify.
Okay.
Question C. They say using information from source A. Describe 2 reasons why some sociologists like to use unstructured interview. So sociologists use unstructured interviews based on the following reasons. One, it gives time and space to respondents to come up with their own views. It is unstructured. So it means you have to see things according to how things are within that environment. So it gives you more time and space for respondents to check their views. 2, researchers can create a rapport with respondents, which might prompt answers making the research valid.
And create what?
It creates rapport. Like, we can make conversation, then we become friends.
Yes.
As a result, you might be giving me honest answers. And this makes the research valid because research must be valid and reliable. Validity means that it is objective. It doesn't have any biasness. Reliability means that you can use it and repeat it every now and then.
What's the meaning of biases?
Bias means subjective. You are not objective. You are carried away, we are influenced with certain situations. So whatever answers you give is based on how I feel, how you feel about me. Or whatever answer I give to you is based on how I feel about you. That means I'm biased. I'm not giving you the real thing. I'm not objective. I'm subjective to the situation I found you. So I might be giving you that answer because you're my friend. I might not be giving you the right answer because you're not my friend. So that is bias. Do you get it? Any question about that?
No.
Okay. So the second one. Yeah, so question D now, right?
Yes,
describe 2 strengths of using a social survey in sociological research. One thing about survey is that it's a good way of gathering when you need to gather large amounts of information, you need to make a survey.
What means survey?
Survey are statistics, gathering information through stats.
Okay.
So you can use census, or you want to count numbers of people. You can use a survey to do that.
Yes,
so that means you need to gather large numbers of data. And the best method to use is, one of the best methods to use is survey. Do you understand?
Yes.
So that's the first point. The second point is that positivists argue that survey are an objective method of gathering data. For positivists, because they use scientific approach. Positivists use scientific approach. And they feel that it is quantitative data that gives generalization. Quantitative data means figures. You can gather large numbers of people, and through the large numbers of people you gather, you can derive information from them. That means, okay, you have 1,000 people here. Out of the 1,000, you can make a survey. You can quantify your research by getting 600 out of them to use in view of all the 1,000. Do you get the point?
Yes.
So that's why I said positivists argue that surveys are an objective method of gathering data. Is that clear?
Yeah.
That's for the first one. We go to E, right? Okay. E is here, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. They said, describe 2 strengths and 2 limitations of using focus groups in sociological research.
What's the
focus group?
Yes.
Focus group means you've set a target on certain kind of people you want to use on your research. Oh, we are using grade 10 students. That is focus group. Yes. So our main our observation, our research is based on this group of people. That is focus group. So what are the strengths? What are the advantages of using the focus group? Number one, focus groups are a better way of gathering information from children, as they may feel comfortable amongst their peers rather than one-to-one information. Because they are children, they might not want to, they might not be able to, they might not feel comfortable when you ask them certain questions. But when they are amongst their friends, they feel jovial, they feel free. Sweet. Whatever you ask them or whatever they do can come naturally. B, focus group allow body language to be used, which can precisely tell about if the participant is saying the truth or not, because you are seeing them. So whatever you ask them, you might be able to know if they are saying the truth or not through the body language. Okay. Do you get the point?
Yes.
Then what are the problems of using focus group? Number one, some participants may not feel comfortable discussing sensitive issues within the group. That's another point. As participants, they might be asking you some sensitive questions that you don't feel like answering because you are in a group. Do you get the point?
No, the point is,
When you use focus group, it means you are part of a group that they are doing research on. You might be called upon for questioning, and you have to answer it in the whole group. But the question might be so sensitive to you that you might feel not comfortable saying it in the public.
Yes.
That is one of the problems of using focus group. Do you get it?
Yes.
The second one, focus group lack reliability. How does it lack reliability? You cannot use the same group you cannot use the same group for your next research because the group you have selected have different characteristics. You cannot expect to put another group together and expect them to have the same characteristic like the other ones. You don't get the point.
Yes.
Let's assume we use grade 10 business department as our focus group this year. Next year, can we assume that the grade 10 business students of next year will be the same as grade 10 students of this year? So it is not reliable. So the information you gathered from will be different. So that means there's no reliability in that research.
So that's not good.
Yes, it's not. Because you cannot repeat, that means you cannot generalize or repeat the information you gathered with the new ones coming.
Yes.
Any question about that?
Yes.
We go to question F, right?
Yes, explain why sampling is important for sociological research.
So for sampling, that means you are taking bit by bit to check on the research. So we have different types of sampling. We have random. For random sampling, how is it important? Yeah, it allows everyone in the group to have equal chance. So when you use sample, random sample, that means we have to choose at the random. So it could be anybody. Yes. So you have a chance, I have a chance. That is random sampling. It allows everyone to have equal chance of being the respondent or participant. 2. So another form of method is stratified sampling. For stratified sampling, they tend to have smaller errors as they are divided. For stratified, it means you have divided the samples because there are large numbers of samples. So you've gathered the sample, but you still see them so large. Then you start dividing them into smaller groups. So in the course of you dividing them into smaller groups, it will make error to be less. There won't be so much mistake because now you don't have to deal with large numbers of samples. You deal with little number of samples. So errors becomes less, which is good for validity. That means you can represent. Do you get the second point? The third point, systematic sampling. For systematic sampling, here is the use of technology for your sample. The use of technology for sampling. Yes. So what is the advantage about that? The advantage is that it allows you to get quicker and faster results.
That's the name of it?
Systematic sampling.
So we use technology.
So you're not using manual.
So it's
faster and quicker. Yes. And then the last one is representative sample. For representative sample, it's useful because it allows researchers to make generalization about their research. You've gathered the focus, you've gathered certain group. But because you are able to see validity in those groups, you have generalized your research. That is what called. So this group that you've selected, that you've made research on, you are using it to represent the whole population. So the group you've researched on through the sample becomes the general view of the whole population. Because sampling involves taking part to represent the whole. You get what sampling is here? Sampling means taking part.
Something. Yes.
Yeah, taking part to represent the whole.
Yes.
That is what sampling is. So now we've taken certain parts, which adds validity, and it's going to represent the whole population. That is representative sample.
Okay.
Is it clear? Is it clear, please?
Yes.
Any question? So we'll go to question G. Okay, question G. It said, to what extent
is validity the most important aspect of sociological research?
So when we talk about validity, for validity, yeah, I said validity comes from, validity means that the research is not biased. The research can be used, can be generalized. The research has gone through triangulation And what does triangulation mean? Triangulation means you are using different methods of research for the same research. I want to research on grade 10s. I've used interview. I've used focus group. I've used different forms of, I've used questionnaires. The research is on grade 10. We have used questionnaires. We have used participant observation. We have used interviews for the same grade 10. That is what we call triangulation. They are using different methods
the same
for the same topic
to see which
to see the validity. When you get the same results, that means the research is valid. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. So that is about validity. So here I wrote, validity comes from detailed and in-depth research, which means it uncovers why people act in certain ways. So if I've made a research, because we want the research to be valid, we have to be detailed minded.
See what's the meaning of valid in Arabic.
Okay.
So that like the same meaning of good or useful.
Yes.
Okay.
So because this research you have made, this research has to be useful. And for us to trust this research, it has to be valid.
Yes.
So validity will come based on what? It will come based on how detailed validity is useful. So it will come based on how detailed, in-depth the research you have done is. So that is why validity is important in research.
Yeah.
I think it's clear.
Yes.
So that's the first one. So the second point is building validity into the research may allow participants to express their views in unstructured interview. Remember, according to feminists, they said unstructured interviews are always unbiased because the point of participants or respondents are heard. They can express the ways they can express themselves. So that's why bring validity to the research. The question is about the importance of validity to research. And we're talking about unstructured interview, which is a form of research. Yes or no? Yes. So according to positivists, according to feminists, they feel unstructured interview is best because it lacks unbiasedness, which means it is objective, based on the fact that the views of participants are known. Do you understand? Do you get the point or not?
I have just a problem in the understanding of the question. To what extent is validity?
Yes. How important is validity to sociology? Sociological research, yes. So, do you get the point now? How valid is the important? How is it important for your research to have validity? That is the question.
Okay.
Do you understand now?
Yes.
So we go back to research itself. We go back to research. The first thing I talked about is you might make research about people. Yes or no?
Yes.
Making research about people, you need validity so that you understand that you need validity, right?
Yes.
And to understand the validity about people, you need to have detailed information about people.
Yes.
You need to make in-depth analysis about people so that you can understand why they behave this way, what prompts them to behave the way they are behaving. If you are able to get that, that means your research is valid.
Yes.
Number one. Number two, when you building validity in research, especially for unstructured interview, allows participants to hear their views, to express themselves. Because the questions are not standardized. The question comes based on the situation.
Yes.
So it allows to know body language. Yes or no? We said it. So because unstructured interview allows body language, it means you'll be able to know how valid it is.
Yes.
Based on the fact that if you are lying, the body can tell. I can feel you are lying.
You can know the validity of the interviews from the
interviewee.
Yes, interviewee. You mean the person
that is being interviewed.
Through the body language.
Through the body language. Is it clear?
Okay.
The third one. Feminists regard validity as important that it allows them to understand the experience of women in order to fight the change. Another importance of research is about the feminists. They feel that we cannot fight for what we don't know. So how do we support women when we cannot gather information about their experiences? We need to understand the experience of women. We need to understand the experiences of women before we can fight for them for change. So how are we going to be able to do that? We need valid information through the research. That is what feminists are saying here. Is it clear? And the last one, validity is important for ethnography field research, which talks about people, how ethnography means the way people live, cut across the world, how they live, what the kind of culture they perceive, and how they make sense of the life they live. So validity will let us to know this because we will understand their culture, we understand their action, we will understand how they make sense of living. What is this life to them?
Yes.
How can we know this? We need detailed information. So this is why it is important for sociological research to be valid. Is it clear?
Yes.
And the last one, the use of, I talked about it already, triangulation.
Yes.
We said research must be valid, right?
Yes.
And how do you understand, how can you confirm that research is valid? You can use triangulation. Because when you use triangulation, you are using a different kind of research.
Yes.
For the same topic. And when you are able to get the same result, that means it's valid. Then, we go to question 2. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay. Yet said, peer groups are an important part of growing up and are an agency of informal social control, particularly for gender identity. Peer pressure can make individuals conform to the norms of the peer group and may cause role conflicts for young people. Wow. Okay. So, the first question. The first question says, what is meant by informal social control? When you talk about informal social control, it implies to you trying to control people, but you don't have the authority to do so. That is informal social control. You are trying to control some people, but normally you don't have the authority to control them. That is informal social.
What?
You don't have the authority to control them. You don't have the ability, you don't have the power to control them.
Yes.
So here I wrote, informal social control is a way of regulating people's behavior without a formal role to do so. Like if your friend are telling you, you're not supposed to do that. You should stop doing that. It's not good. You shouldn't do that. It is informal social control. They are your mates. They're not your parents. Do you understand informal social control?
Yes, yes.
Great. So that is the first question, right? That's the first question. Here we go to B. It said, describe 2 examples of norms expected of students in schools. When we talk about norms are the things you are supposed to do, the normal things you're supposed to do as a student. Number 1, uniform, wearing of uniforms, because that creates a certain identity.
Yes.
Wearing uniform is a norm, because it creates an identity that, oh, you are part of the students of this school. 2, relating the way you respecting teachers. Respect your teachers, respect your mates by not talking over them.
Yes.
That is also another norm. I think that is clear. Is it clear, please?
Yes.
We go to C. He said, young people, explain how young people may experience role conflicts. When we talk about role conflict, that means what we have to do as young people, what we have to do. And how does it become a problem with the family? How does it become a problem with the society? How does it become a problem with friends? That is what role conflict is about. Do you get the point?
Yes.
Great. So here I wrote, young people might experience role conflict in the following ways. Number 1, role conflict between brothers, sisters, and friends. Listen, role conflict between brother, sister, and friends. Sometimes you might want to hang around with your friends, but because you are the eldest, your parents want you to stay with your younger ones, depriving you the ability to meet your friends. Then you might clash with your parents. You might have disagreement with your parents, yes or no? I want to go out to my friends, but your mom or your dad said no, because you have to take care of your younger ones. So that's the role conflict. So it's brother, sister, and friends. So now the problem is that I have to take care of my brothers, depriving me of seeing my friends. Oh, I have to take care of my sister, depriving me of seeing my friends. That is the role conflict.
Yes.
So the role conflict comes because your parents would have ordered you to take care of your younger ones. but you don't want to do that because you want to meet your friends. That's the first one. Is it clear? The second one, role conflict between students and peer group. Here, there is what we call subculture. In the school, you might have groups in the school. Yes or no?
Yes.
You have your group. But your group might not be doing the right thing. There might be group formed that don't like education. Yes. But you want to face your studies, but you are part of the group. So your ability to face your studies becomes an opportunity cost for the group. So you might clash with the group because you are supposed to be with them, but you are doing your own work. You're supposed to be with them, but you are studying. So there's role conflict there. Is it clear?
Yes.
That's role conflict between student and peer group. The third one, role conflict between son, daughter, and boyfriend, girlfriend. Role conflict between son, daughter, and boyfriend, girlfriend. Here, you have your family. Your family sees you. Your mom wants to see you, your dad wants to see you. But you have emotional time that is demanding. You need to see your girlfriend. Seeing your girlfriend means you're not going to be seeing your family. So that is a real conflict. Do you understand the third point? Yes. And the last, okay, and that's the last point there. Is it clear? Yeah, we'll go to D.
Explain why some young people join subcultures.
Subculture means culture in between other cultures. Culture in culture. There's the Libyan culture. Then there's the Amazigh culture. That is subculture. There's the school culture. There's the peer group culture.
That's what I want to ask you. Also, the groups like in the schools, is a subculture.
It's a subculture. Okay, I think it's clear.
Yes.
So here it said young people join subcultures based on the following reasons. One, young people might feel compelled to join based on peer pressure. You might not want to join, but peer pressure, like bullying, they bully you. Yes. They make you not relevant amongst them. Because of this pressure, you join. Number one, clear? Number two, Marxists would argue that youth subculture is a way of forming rebellion against capitalists. For Marxists, who are the Marxists? Marxists are the sociologists that feel that in every society there's class. They believe that the society is full of class, that the capitalists are exploiting the working class or the lower class, that the capitalists are using the talakawas, the poor ones, they are using them. Capitalists are those that own assets. They decide what happens in the society. They are wealthy people. They own the resources in the society. They use those ones that are not rich, the wealthy ones. So according to Marxists believe that use of culture is formed to fight against the capitalists. Do you get the point here?
No.
Marxists, they are sociologists that believes in class. They feel that the society is about class. He said, there's Karl Marx. Karl Marx in Latin, he said, interpose le pouvoir est le pouvoir. It means, that's Latin. It means in every society there's a class. Mm-hmm. So even in heaven, there's class.
Yes.
So that means there's where the God, Lord is, or Allah is. There's where the prophets are. There's where the angels are. These are classes. Yes. So there are classes in the society. This is according to Karl Marx in the 19th century. So for Karl Marx, he argued, and the Marxists, those that follow Karl Marx, they argue that the capitalists, the only way to reduce the power of the capitalists is to form rebellion against them, to rebel against them. So how do you rebel against them? By forming subculture, because the capitalists have their culture. So you have to form culture inside their culture to be able to fight against them. That is the point about capitalists. Is it clear?
Yes.
The third one, functionalists. For functionalists, these are sociologists that believe that the society will be in anarchy, the society will be in chaos if things are not put in the right way, like understanding the scientific approach of how things are, studying individuals in the society, micro. That is for functionalists. They feel that schools must perform their role if the society has to be fine. They are the ones that argue that the family is the first primary socialization, that everything that happens in the society comes from the family. These are functionalists. They believe that if the family puts you in order, you will behave well outside. These are functionalists. So for functionalists, They suggest that subcultures act as a safety valve as young people navigate the difficult period of adolescence. So because you are still in that age, you feel like you need some group of people that understand how you feel. Your parents don't understand because they are not living this life right now.
Yes.
They lived it in the past. So you want to belong to some cult, some group, so that because you feel they feel the same way as you feel. So that takes you away from that culture, that family culture, to join the subculture.
Yes.
That's according to functionalists. And the last one here, subculture offer a sort of autonomy and separateness from parent schools, which create a sort of identity during the teen years. With subculture, I said you can join a group, right?
Mm-hmm.
So joining that group makes you to feel comfortable than talking to your parents. Joining that group makes you to neglect school. So you don't see school as important. You see the group as important.
Yes.
That is about subculture.
I don't go at this point only.
For Marxists, I said Marxists would argue that youth subculture is a way of forming rebellion against capitalists. I said capitalists are the owners of wealth, the owners of resources in the society. They control us. So how can we fight them? They are cheating us. So how can we fight them? We need to form a culture to fight them. So the culture we form is the youth subculture, which because we are powerful, we are youth, we are strong, we can fight against them. Is it clear?
Yes.
Question E, right?
Yes.
It said, to what extent? Yeah, I wrote the numbers on you.
What extent?
Yeah, the question says, to what extent is social identity influenced by gender? What is social identity? The way you see yourself and how you perceive the society sees you. That is social, that's the identity. So yeah, social identity is influenced by gender in the following ways. Number one, social identity is shaped through primary socialization, which is more of detailed about gender. What is primary socialization? The family. They are the first that teach you how to walk, how to eat, how to toilet.
Yes.
So that is the first part. And also, they let you to know that this is what you have to do as a boy. This is what you have to do as a girl. Is that not social identity? Socialization talks about integrating people to the society. So one method, one agency of socialization is the family, which is primary socialization. Through the family, you know what you are supposed to do because you're a boy. You'll be allowed to play football. Because it's a girl, she'll be allowed to skip. Is it not an identity?
Yes.
Number one. Number two, social identity is how we see ourselves in relation to the family. This is characterized with the role we play in the family. So we said our identity is how we see ourselves, right? So in your family, there are some things you do that your sisters won't be able to do.
Yes.
Why? Because in the family, they already let you to know that you're a boy and it's a girl.
Yes.
That's the second point. Are you getting it?
Yes.
The third point, social identity is shaped with gender norms and expectation in education. In education, because you are a boy, there are some subjects you will take in school.
Yes.
Because it's a girl, there are some subjects she will take.
Yes.
So that is about, this, we said social identity comes with socialization.
Yes.
School is an example of socialization,
Yes,
which is secondary socialization, because it integrates people to be able to tolerate each other, to stay with each other. Right? So in school, you'll be taking some subject and they'll tell you, yeah, it's a girl subject. Oh, it's a boy subject. Yes. That's a social identity. Is it clear? Is it clear, please?
Yes.
And the fourth one, the gendered division of labor at work. In the workplace, you might be in the same office with some girls or some ladies, but when it comes to division of labor, when they divide your job, they might be giving some jobs that they wouldn't give to the woman or to the lady because it is feminine. Do you understand?
Yes.
You have equal rights, but maybe they need to lift this chair now, or you need to lift, or you need to arrange your office. It's your office, you need to arrange it. You would not want to call the ladies to do that, yes or no? It's part of identity. And the last one, the peer group. The kind of group you form is based on gender. Peer group is lined with gender. So your friends, when you're starting your friends, you start with the boys. The girls will start with the girls. So the school is an identity, right? But the society is an identity. The society is socialization. But now You form your group with the boys, you form the group with the girls. So we are in line with gender role in the society. Is it clear? Any questions about that?
No.
So that's all about the paper. How is it?
Not that hard. Also because we take this paper before.